All right, looks like we're waiting for 2 people. So about 30 more seconds to get joined and then we'll get started. Just a heads up, the last 3 problems are math problems. We have a ways till we get there. But if you wanted to make sure you had your calculator and or scratch paper handy for when we get there, you may want it. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. A withholding tax that pays for old age survivors and disability insurance benefits. So that's the Social Security tax. Paid time away from work due to illness. Okay. So that's going to be your sick leave. Personal leave is just if you need time off for personal reasons, not necessarily being sick. An account into which employees voluntarily contribute a portion of their earnings for their retirement. So that's your retirement plan. Social Security tax is not voluntary. Keep that in mind. In-kind payments are when the government pays something on your behalf, like possibly your insurance, medical insurance, if you qualify for housing assistance. Those are in-kind payments where you don't actually get the money, they pay directly. An insurance plan that pays medical and disability benefits to workers injured on the job. So that's workers' compensation. That's when you're hurt on the job. Disability insurance will pay you to not work if you're hurt, but that's not when you get hurt at work. And then Medicare, remember, is for retired persons over 65, and that's that Medicare tax. A portion of a corporation's profits distributed to stockholders. Those are dividends. So stockholders are people who buy stock in the corporation. You can either get a cash dividend where they give you just cash, or they could give you a stock dividend where they give you more stock. True or false? Self-employment income is a form of earned income. So that is true. If you're self-employed, you are working for yourself and you're earning that money. So that would be earned income. True or false? All states have the same minimum wage. So that is false. All of you got that correct. There is a federal minimum wage. I don't think I talked about that when we went over this. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25 per hour. So that's the minimum any state can pay. But I believe, and I'm not sure. I think it's 28 states have a minimum wage higher than the federal minimum wage. But every state is different or can be different. True or false? A progressive tax is a tax that is the same rate for everyone. That is false. A progressive tax is one that progresses. It goes up based on kind of your tax bracket. So that would be like income tax in California. The more you make, the more taxes you pay. A tax rate that's the same for everyone is called regressive, and that's going to be like our sales tax here in California. Everyone pays the same sales tax rate. Money that a person has available to spend or save after taxes. So that's going to be your disposable income. Your earned income is any income you receive from working. Gross income is kind of the same idea. That's going to be money you earn before taxes. Disposable is after the taxes have already come out. Which of the following is an example of earned income? So yeah, tips are earned income because you have to work for them. Remember, dividends, those are what we just talked about. That's when you have stock in a company, you can get paid out. Capital gains, that's when you, like, say you own a house and you sell it for more than you bought it for. That's going to be capital gains. And unemployment is when you're paid to not work. So the other three, you're not working for those, so those are unearned income. What is the Medicare tax rate? So the Medicare tax rate is 1.45%. Not to be confused with 6.2%. That's the Social Security tax rate. Remember, if we combine those two, some companies will do that on their pay stubs because they're both set by the government. That's what we call the FICA tax, and those would just be adding the two together. Now we're moving on to the math problems. Find the straight time pay if you work 30 hours at $13.25 per hour. So in this one, I kind of put a trick question on here. I want to make you aware of this. Remember, so first of all, what you do on this problem, you multiply 30 times $13.25. That's just your straight time pay. Remember, when you're talking about money, you absolutely must use 2 decimal places. That's what's wrong with this red triangle answer. It just says 0.5. It needs to be 0.50. That's what your calculator spits out at you. But for money, you have to add the second decimal place or round to the nearest whole dollar, depending on the problem. But never just 1 decimal place. So if that's on your test tomorrow, yes, you have a test tomorrow in case you forgot. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Make sure you put that second decimal place. What is the sales tax if you buy items totaling $29.57 and the tax rate is 7.95%? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm almost done. So that's going to be $2.35. What you do on this problem is you, just to get the sales tax, you take the $29.59 and you multiply that by the tax rate. But remember, you have to get rid of the percent by moving the decimal 2 places to the left. So that would be 0.0795. If you selected this yellow answer, that was you added it, and that's ideally kind of where we're headed, and we did problems like that. That would be the total price you paid. So $29.57 was for the items you bought, and then $2.35 was the tax. All right, and last math problem, last one on here. It's a little bit longer. Find the gross pay if you work 40 hours at $15 per hour and 6 hours at a rate of 1.5 your regular rate. So that would be your overtime. Yeah, just wipe it up, okay? Use the paper towel. Okay, so this problem has a couple more steps to it. So the gross pay, remember that's before taxes, 40 hours at $15 per hour. So you do 40 times 15, and that's where you're gonna get $600. That's for the regular hours worked. The 6 hours at a rate of 1.5, that's gonna be your standard overtime rate. So you take this 1.5 and you multiply it by 15. And that's where you're gonna get $22.50. So your overtime rate, you would make $22.50 for every hour of overtime. So you take the 6 hours and you multiply it by the $22.50, and you're gonna get $135. So you take that $135 and you add it to the $600 you got from this first step, and that's where you get the $735. We did one like that in our notes last week, if that kind of didn't make sense. Okay, baby. All right. Okay, so let me, that was a review because like I said, we have our test tomorrow. Let me pull up your Google Classroom and kind of talk about the other few things. So here's your Google Classroom. So here's what's posted for the week. Monday, we did our Kahoot just now. Hopefully that helped you kind of get an idea, refreshed your memory over the weekend. Then choosing between job offers, I'm going to go over that next. Tomorrow we're going to kind of talk about what I'm going to talk about now. Then tomorrow you also have your test. Your test tomorrow has to be done by 8 p.m. We should have time to start it in class. It'll be a very similar format to last time. Then Wednesday, Thursday, we're starting chapter 3. I want to point out down here, this job offers assignment that we're starting today is due Wednesday before class. So it's due Wednesday at 2 p.m. It's not due on Friday like the other things are. It kind of goes with chapter 2. So we're going to turn it in before our chapter, or before we start chapter 3. So I'm going to go over this. You do not need to print this. You are welcome to. You're welcome to make a copy and type in it directly. You can just kind of type it in the Google Doc. So remember the other day when we were talking about you want to look at the total compensation package and not just the salary. So every opportunity is different. Some companies may offer a lot of money but not be fun to work at. Others might have excellent culture, but it's not really what you want to do. So you have to look at a wide range of factors. So the first thing you're going to do here is review these job offers. So it says you're a recent college graduate looking for work. Below are the descriptions of 3 different jobs that you've been offered. Read each one fully and keep in mind what factors appeal the most to you and what one's the least. So it has jobs A, B, and C. Compensation and salary, bonus, health insurance, 401k, remember that's your retirement, vacation, and other. This other is going to be like your perks that we talked about in this chapter. So you're going to read all of these. Then responsibilities. You read through them all, kind of compare them. Opportunity for career advancement. Almost done, baby. Yeah. So, can you move up in this company? Location and workplace culture. So again, you're going to read through all that, and it'll probably take you 5 or so minutes to read those and kind of compare. Then it just says, upon initial review, what one appeals the most to you? Why? So So you just say, I would choose job C because of this. I would choose job A because of this. What, if anything, worries you about that job? So if you said, I would choose job A, what up here do you not like about job A? So that's just initial reading it, kind of the first thing that stands out. Stop, please. So then the second part is where it gets a little trickier. You want to analyze the job. So you want to kind of look at them more thoroughly and compare them and not just read them. So you're going to weight each factor on a scale of 1 to 5 based on how important it is to you personally, and give it a number in the weight column. This has nothing to do with what you read up above. So it has job A, job B, and job C. You just rate these on a scale of 1 to 5. If compensation is the most important, it would be a 5. You know, if job responsibilities aren't a huge deal to you, maybe you want to give that a 3. But if you give compensation a 5, it's going to be a 5 for all 3 of these. This weight column is the same for job A, job B, and job C. Then you in the code, you give it a plus, a 0, or a minus. A plus, so this is when you go back and read it for that job. A plus says, I really like what they're offering and I want to work there. A 0 is, I'm neutral about it. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make or break it for me. And a negative is you're unhappy about the company is offering and it makes you less likely to work there. And then to score it, basically if it was a plus sign, that weight would just be positive. If it was a minus or a negative, the score would be negative. And if it was a 0, the score is 0. So I will show you what one looks like. I'll just kind of fill it in real quick. So let's just say, I think compensation, I think it's really important. I want to be paid a lot of money. I want to make sure I have time off, etc. Job responsibilities, you know, what am I doing every day? That matters to me. I want to be doing a job I like. So maybe I give that a 4. Opportunity for career advancement. Do I want to move up? Do I care where I am? It's not as important to me, maybe. Location, that's not super important. Maybe I'll give it a 2. Culture matters a lot to me. I care about the people I work with. I care about the environment. Maybe I want to give that a 5 also. So if I make that column 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, that's going to be the same for job B and job C. So again, you weight these based on how you personally feel. What's important to you. Okay, so once you have that weight column filled in, you go
froze.
Back, huh?
Oh, it froze for a second. Never mind.
Okay. So once you have that weight column, you kind of go back and you read each one. So here for job A, compensation. And I'm going to read all the boxes for compensation. I make a lot of money. I make the most money. Bonuses up to $20,000. I get all of this stuff. So yeah, I'm going to say that looks pretty good for job A. Job responsibilities, it says you will learn a few new skills, but you repeat the same thing. Many describe your work as boring. Well, that sounds terrible to me. I don't want a boring job. So maybe I personally give that a negative. Maybe you like routine and you want to do the same thing every day, and that's a positive for you. That's good. Opportunity for career advancement. So veteran management, at least 10 years to get management level. Many people leave after 2 to 3 years. Well, that doesn't sound good to me. So I'm going to leave that a negative. I want a career. I want to stay somewhere and kind of not plan on leaving. Location is downtown. 15 minutes if I take a bus or train. 30 minutes with heavy traffic. Parking is included. You know, that's not super important to me. That doesn't make or break it. I don't mind driving. I don't mind taking the bus. I can read a book or something. Maybe I give it a 0. It doesn't weigh my opinion either way, what they had to say there. And then workplace culture here, they're successful but very demanding. Average work days 8 hours and 1 to 2 hours at home. Some weekends work, and you must drop everything to complete a task if management asks. Again, personally, that sounds terrible to me. So I would give that a negative. You fill this in how you see fit. So then for your score, a 5 and a plus, that's a score of 5. If it's a negative, it's that number but with a negative. -3. A 0 is just a 0. You're like multiplying these, and then this is -5. So you take these, add them up. Job A for me got a score of -7. So that's how you fill it in. Then you analyze job B and job C. You put your final score, so I put a -7 here. And then you say, now that you've done them all, what one gave you the winning job offer? Which one has the highest score? And maybe job B won for me, and I said job A before. Why does it not match? And then it just has a couple follow-up questions on kind of your final decision on these job offers. So what you're doing tonight, you're going to read this. You're going to say what one appeals the most to you and why it scares you. Then you're going to fill in this table with the weight is the same for all of them. Choose your weights, not mine. Then your code once you go back and read it, and then you give it a score. I anticipate there might be some questions once you actually try to do this yourself. That's why I have time built into class tomorrow, so that we can answer hopefully any of these questions you guys have about it. Before we go, are there any questions or something you need clarified? Okay, so again, this is expected to pretty much be done tomorrow unless you have questions. And if you have a question, if it's not done, that means it's because you have a question and you need me to clarify. It's not just because you were lazy and didn't feel like doing it. I want to be able to have a conversation about how we weighted things and kind of what codes we filled in. So I'd really like all these tables filled in tomorrow so that we can have that discussion. And then also you have your test tomorrow. That is all we have. So I will see you at 2 o'clock tomorrow unless you have questions.